Is the US dollar in danger here?
Yes, well, it's been an increasing danger for decades, but now it's gotten to a critical level. Look, from the most basic point of view, the US government itself is bankrupt, terminally bankrupt. It can't dig itself out of the hole. In fact, it's digging the hole deeper. The official 31 trillion dollar deficit is being added to at the rate of a trillion and a half a year. So everybody knows, certainly sophisticated people know, that the dollar is a hot potato. And the main thing that's holding the dollar up is the fact that its major commodities, oil, which is the world's largest traded commodity, are priced in dollars. But if the Saudis and other countries start accepting the yuan instead of the dollar, then what do people need dollars for? This 20 trillion, nobody knows for sure, but that's a good estimate, US dollars outside the US.
Right.
And if people don't need them to buy commodities, well, they don't need them for anything. And they're going to start unloading them. So yeah, this is a really dangerous situation. And it's not just the Saudis. It's the Nigerians, who are major African oil exporters, are doing the same thing with the Chinese. The Nigerians, the Saudis, don't buy anything from the US, but they buy lots of stuff from the Chinese. So it's perfectly logical.
And to that point, I just want to bring up a quote that was in the Wall Street Journal. They were the first to break this report, that the oil market, and by extension, the entire global commodities market, is the insurance policy of the status of the dollar as reserve currency. If that block is taken out of the wall will begin to collapse. So exactly what you were saying, Doug. So if the US dollar's, role and dominance as reserve currency is coming to an end, I mean, what replaces it?
Well, that is a $64 question. I think what's going to happen is that we're going to go back to gold. Look, even the Chinese and the Russians, who are closer now than ever, do most of their trading, I understand, with US dollars, which is crazy. They have to clear those dollars through New York, the homeland of their enemy. You don't use the enemy's currency, for God's sake, or the adversary's currency, if you wish. It's best that they use a neutral currency, one that can't be inflated out of existence, one that can't be closed down at the discretion of some half-crazy pals in Washington, D.C. I mean, Russia's had all of its dollar accounts confiscated or put on ice, as it were. So any country realizes it could happen to them. So the US is shooting itself in the foot by trying to punish the Russians.
And hold that thought, I want to get back to, but first let me dig a little deeper. But what you mean return to gold, like a gold standard, or how would that work? What would it look like?
Well, ideally, it would look like something we had in the 19th century. You might recall that in the 19th century, which was an excellent period of time in world history, there were fewer wars, there was more progress, currencies were sound, governments were tiny. The franc, the mark, the lira, the dollar, these were just names for specific amounts of gold. And I think it'll go back to that. Listen, you really don't want government involved in currencies. I mean, gold takes governments out of currencies. You don't have to trust a government if you use gold. So yes, as strange as it sounds, I think the world is going to go back to gold, because it's the only, I've said this so many times, but it's worth repeating. It's the only financial asset that's not simultaneously somebody else's liability. And all the world's governments, especially that of the US, are bankrupt. So who wants their liability?